Hi Fisher me. So SAG-AFTRA, basically Screen Actors Guild, joined WGA in strike against AMPTP, against the producers, against the big studios, against the people who continue to screw over basically the people who are creating the shows. So unfortunately, unlike with WGA, we don't have sort of published proposal and versus like what AMPTP said, sort of proposal and rejection, which I showed like in the previous videos about WGA strike. Screen Actors Guild, obviously huge guild. It's like, I think like 160,000 people or something like that. And that basically holds the production of almost all of the Hollywood. With an interesting exception, apparently some sort of indie productions negotiated sort of extensions to, like, I think around 30 something movies will continue to film, which is kind of interesting because that's not how WGA works. Like, if you're on strike, you're on strike, no sort of leeway to anybody. But basically the main sort of things that, at least like from my understanding as of right now, what SAG-AFTRA is doing, trying to negotiate, is better pay, obviously, for the production, for all the people sort of on screen, and also better residuals. Obviously, streaming is booming, and people don't really get money from it, which is absurd. So residuals that usually like would support actors sort of between the projects from the work that they've done previously. Right now with streaming, it's basically almost non-existent. And then a third really major sort of point is AI and just in general sort of digital work and their own sort of digital likeness. Because basically what producers and studios want, at least like for background actors, they want to pay you day rate, take you once sort of in a studio or in a filming environment, then they want to scan your likeness, scan your appearance, pay you $300 of your day rate, and then you fuck off forever. And they own your digital likeness, they can manipulate it, they can do anything they want, they can put you in any production that you might have not even want to participate. I don't know, maybe you're like, whatever, against like, fucking, I don't know, Nazi films, for example, like obviously, you know, extreme example, right? But your appearances is put into that movie that you might have like not signed. Although AMPTP sort of said that, oh no, we agreed that for every sort of next project we would sort of ask the permission basically of the actor. It's bullshit, obviously, because as of right now, WGA was on strike already since like May. So it's been like almost like 3 months, I think. Producers have not, and studios have not shown sort of arguments in good faith. They always reject, and I showed you sort of the proposals of WGA, and they rejected absolutely like vital proposals that WGA members were making. So the same sort of thing is happening right now with SAG-AFTRA union. So just imagine that, like, you are paid one-time fee, $300, your digital likeness is scanned, and then this company owns it. So maybe if you go to other company, they might say like, oh, but that company already scanned your likeness, so we don't want to deal with you anymore, because we don't want to deal later with sort of how it would work out, the agreement between us, if we use you in a project, if they use you in a project, like, oh, conflict of interest, whatever, we don't want to deal with you anymore. So you sold your sort of likeness for one-time fee, $300, maybe $500, whatever, and then you are fucked, basically. As a background actor, basically as an extra maybe somewhere. This is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous stuff. So obviously, you know, that's not an argument in a good faith when people are saying, actors are saying like, no, we don't want that. We don't want AI. We don't want like basically replacing our work. We don't want our sort of likeness to be scanned and then later manipulated in ways that we can't control and we are not paid for. And we want some residuals for the work that we do, especially like if you are sort of not even high profile, but you're getting there, you know, like you want some residuals to support you, because it's just so brain dead, this argument just that we have in this argument, that producers are nobody without writers, without like actors, directors, and obviously all the crew around them, which is different union, it's IATSE. But who are the producers? They're just people with money. That's it. You're people with money. We have internet right now. Technically, you know, which is something that probably a lot of these actors and writers should be doing, is starting to create like maybe lower budget, but like their own shows that they control with their own money. So they would risk their own money, but the rewards would also be theirs, you know? I think this is gonna follow, like lower budget movies, maybe more indie movies, and less this like garbage studio work. if studios and producers are so out of touch with reality. They live in their fucking high castles in like, I don't know, fucking Hollywood Hills, and they don't understand what sort of the day-to-day sort of life of an average writer, of an average sort of actor, of an inspiring actor or writer. They don't give a fuck about all of that. If they could, they would gladly replace like all of it with AI. Just press the button, boom, movie generated. Yeah, people come see it. One thing that I've seen some morons, absolute brain-dead morons on YouTube argued, is that, oh, these fucking like celebrities, these writers, these actors, so spoiled, they want to take revenue, the percentage, the sort of residuals from the percentage of the revenue, not from the profits, but from the revenue. And apparently these people have never even like tried to study economy, which is like funny to me because I've spent 4 years studying economy and management. So I kind of learned that shit, that if you're signed for profits, like for percentage of profits, for each movie basically, they create a separate LLC, separate company basically. What you can do with percentage of profits is that you can make those profits not even zero, you can make it negative. You lost money. And then as a percentage of it, you will get fuck all. And this is exactly what they're doing all the time. They have a movie, they set up their own sort of LLC that later sort of Marvel or Disney or wherever will buy the rights from that LLC. But that particular company that's set up for one particular project, maybe a couple projects, but usually for like, or often for just one project, for one movie, you sort of basically write out like any expenses that you can. So you will show no profits. Like look what was Amazon doing? It's a $2 trillion company at this point, and they've been showing almost zero profits for like years and years and years. Why? Because they go and build fucking whatever, something. Boom, that's their expenses. That's already removed from the profits. So all these movie companies, they're doing exactly the same. They're just like spending, so you will not show any profits. So if some actor was stupid enough to sort of negotiate as a percentage of the profits of a box office, not the revenue, but the profits, they will show no profits whatsoever because they spent, I don't know, maybe like $200 million on marketing or something like that. That's expenses. Oh, sorry. We didn't make that money back. We made $500 million. The movie cost, I don't know, 300. Then we spent 200 more additional on marketing. Sorry, oopsie, no profits. Tough luck for you. And so the people sort of in charge of WGA, SAG-AFTRA, they understand that game because it's not really that complicated. You write down your expenses, so you pay as little taxes as possible, and so you show as little profit as possible. It's the same concept. And so it's just so baffling to me that these producers think that everybody around them are completely brain dead and don't understand it. But then people on YouTube argue that, oh, like you should share your profits, while not understanding that every company is trying to bankrupt the company who made like particular movie. So they don't show any profits, so they don't have to pay any taxes or any residuals that based on profits. That's why obviously both writers and actors want to negotiate the percentage of revenue, because you've sold your tickets, you've done your distribution deals. Pay people who made that happen. Just because producers put some money doesn't mean that like it stops there. You can just fill this room with money. There won't be any shows if you just fill room with money. You need writers, you need actors, you need, like I said, directors and all of the other stuff. That's why I'm absolutely perplexed how people on YouTube or like on TikTok or some critics can argue against writers and against actors. Like their argument is that like, oh, we've seen so many bad shows, so many bad movies, hence people shouldn't get paid. Like, okay, well, dude, I've seen so many shitty fucking takes from you on YouTube. Like, you shouldn't get paid for that either. Like, you've done the work, I don't like it. Like, fuck you. Doesn't compute whatsoever. Especially because you can make dozens of comparisons. You can make like even simplest comparison. I don't know. Let's say like you're a truck driver. Some company puts you on a truck, records your path, how you like for a week, for example, records how you operate, and then basically puts that data into their like AI that will drive the truck basically for you, and then you're fucked. Like, this is just like one example from the top of my head, but like examples like that can be found anywhere. You can train sort of the models that would replicate sort of human behavior, and then you're fucked. It's like maybe hairdressers are safe for now, but like I just don't understand how how these fucking simpletons with absolutely brainless mind can argue for the producers, for the studios, when their proposals are just rejecting good proposals. They're not counter-offering even it with something good, something decent. They're just saying, no, we don't want to give you money. We don't want to sort of protect your likeness. We don't want to protect your writing against like AI and training those models. We just don't care, like, fuck you. And they even said, the fucking producers, they even said, I don't know, there was like a week ago or something like that. Basically, one of the producers anonymously said that, you know what? That's a sort of war of attrition. We're gonna starve them to death, and yeah, until like at Christmas, they don't have any money for food for fucking Thanksgiving or whatever, and they are fucking on the streets. Then they were talking about the writers. Then they will be on the streets. Then they will come to senses basically and come crawling to us. Like, that's the mentality. And sort of the AMPTP sort of issued sort of that we kind of don't stand, sort of with that kind of a message. But they exactly do that. They're ready to go like fucking on strike for a couple of years. They don't care. And I don't understand how a simple person, how a regular person, even like a regular YouTuber, sort of self-employed person, how can they argue for the producers who are paid hundreds of millions of dollars for failing upwards? It's the producers who are hiring those bad writers, actors, not even, like bad writers, for example, who are creating those bad shows or bad movies, wherever, who are pushing the agenda. But the agenda is also pushed by producers, by the studios. And so you're pushing your garbage, you're paid millions, and then you don't want to pay to the people that you screwed over in many cases, because many movies, you can see that the movie is made by the fucking committee, by the studio, because it's garbage most of the time. And so they're failing upwards, they're getting millions and millions, they're getting rehired fucking Bob Igers and Kathleen Kennedys of the world and all of these fucking absolute lunatics who I don't understand how they still have the positions, how they still have this position. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can ruin all the franchises in the world and still continue to get millions and millions of dollars. While, once again, writers and actors, many of them, just struggling to get a living. And YouTubers are suggesting you to go find another job. Like, okay, if that's just a hobby and we're in a market where like everything is at each other's throat, like who benefits this? Those on top who will pay less to people, who will fucking get even more money into their pockets. Like, what benefit it is to you? I don't understand that. All right, long video already. Stand with SAG-AFTRA. Stand with WGA and yeah, AMPTP studios, garbage people, really garbage fucking people, and they're just showing every step of the way just how shitty they are truly. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're openly saying it. We want to starve those pieces of shit that they just fuck off somewhere else. If that's a ploy kind of to get rid of those writers, those kind of bad writers, then just fire them, because you hired them previously for the projects that lost you millions and millions of dollars. If you hired them, well, then fire them and explain exactly that. You didn't deliver. You cost us money. You lost us money. Simple as that. And with actors, again, like if you don't want to pay people who are on screen, they are making the performance, they're delivering things. Like if you don't want to pay to them, like what are you doing? What are you fucking doing, you lunatics? I don't get that. All right, take care. Till next one.